Hi, welcome back to the SG Child Show. I'm so excited to be here and so excited to be bringing back Dr. Norinne Russell. It has been, oh my heavens, I looked it up. It has been 4.5 years since season 2, episode 48 and 49. And you won't believe it. We are in episodes 360.
Sarah,
Yeah.
you're a busy person. I hope I get there. That is a huge accomplishment.
It's been amazing. And that with the summits, the autism summits that I've hosted, I think I'm upwards of about 600 or plus interviews or so. So, yes.
Anybody has been interviewed by Sarah.
There we go, right? We could just wear I know Sarah name tags around and find your group of friends.
Exactly.
I love it. I tell people to do that on their event when they go to autism conferences and stuff. And people have literally, they haven't done that exact thing, but they've met and they've come back to me and said, "Hey, Sarah, I ran into this and this. And, Stephen Mark Shore and I had a conversation about you this weekend." And I'm like, "Oh, I love this. This is so incredible." Yeah. So what an amazing journey that has transpired, and so much has grown, and both of us are still just as, I guess, inspired and passionate about educating as ever before. And even though sometimes our lives take a little bit of twists or turns and our perspectives or our ideas of what is relative and important at that time in our lives may change, it's so neat to catch back up, see what's happening, see the changes that have occurred. So for those who, all of you go back to season 2, obviously, and listen to those episodes. But for those of you who don't know Dr. Norinne, please introduce yourself.
Thanks, Sarah. You're just such a great connector. Yeah. So Sarah and I met several years ago. I also am an educator and an advocate in the neurodiversity world. I have a coaching practice, Russell Coaching for Students, that I started about 17 years ago. And over the course of the last 17 years, we have grown into the largest student coaching practice in the United States and the largest practice dedicated to kids who are neurodiverse. So our specialty is not just kids with autism or ADHD or anxiety. Our specialty is complex kids who are in the syndrome, in the mix, right? They've got ADHD and autism. They've got autism and dyslexia. And that kind of complex student is our niche at Russell Coaching. So I do that. I have a podcast called ADHD, Anxiety, and Autism, Breaking Out of the Box, where we try to talk about how do we get out of the box that these things kind of put us in, or the box that sometimes school puts us in, or that sometimes we put our own selves in. I also am excited to tell you, I haven't had a chance to tell you this yet, that I am the host of a TV show called Connected, Executive Functioning in the Real World, that airs on Roku. So I'm super busy professionally, and my children are now 16 and my son is turning 18 this week, June of 26.
Wow. When they get into the older teen years, you really, I feel like, have taken for granted all of the time they were young and all of the panic that ensues. But no, all of the new responsibility that's about to be taken on by yourself, by them, by the world, just loads of responsibilities. So congratulations on all of those things, though, and happy birthday to upcoming in 2 weeks, 18-year-old. That's really, really exciting. Are you, kind of strange to throw out this question, is there any type of guardianship that you have to do with that individual? Is that something you're seeking into?
Yeah. So we have looked into it in the past and been prepared for what we might need to do. And we do have some financial fail-safes in place because he is definitely still learning budgeting. And so his dad and I both happened to have a tragic accident. I would not want him to be managing that. And we will have, some durable power of attorney for medical things. But no, we are not going to be in a position where we're going to have to do a guardianship. And Sarah, you know, I know that you have to have listeners out there who were in the same space I was when Ethan was 1, 2, 5, 10, 15, where I just never exhaled. I thought that, this might be at any given point, you know, things could be overwhelming, in terms of his mental health, his stability, his ability to cope with life. And we were really close a few times. And so it is amazing that my son is turning 18 in 2 days. And, I don't want to be mistaken. I'm not bragging, but I want to share this story of hope and joy, because this is not the story that I thought I would be telling.
Yeah.
This kid has his driver's license. He has pretty much completed high school. He is doing early admission to college. He has been working at a vet's office. Shout out to Gregory Vet in Tampa, Florida, for being the best employer ever. Shout out Gregory Vet.
You.
He has been working there for 2 years. He is now working this summer as a camp counselor at Camp Idlewild, which is a camp for special needs, which is the first place he ever spent the night away from home. So
Love that.
This is a story that I can hardly tell without crying, because this is my same kid who pretty much every spring from preschool through 4th grade, we just didn't make it 4th quarter. Like, we were just tired. We were burned out. This is my kid who was diagnosed with DMDD at age 5. This is my kid who has a diagnosis of level 2-3 autism. Raising Ethan has been a lesson in, first and foremost, love, but advocacy and growth and so much. And so I just, I want to share that, not in that kind of social media, Facebook, look at my kid, he's so amazing, but I want to share it because pretty much I would say from the moment that kid was born until about 6 months ago, I never exhaled. And there have got to be parents who can relate to that.
100%. 100%. My brain is just flooding with so many things. It's that I could have said that exact story about how the hardest days, and I'm still in that realm of, I haven't crossed over to that other side yet where I can maybe breathe yet. And that's okay. That's okay, because that's the wonderful thing about these types of stories, is what we really learn is that the limits our mind, our thoughts, other people's opinions, society's guidelines or whatever, those are the things that need to be let go and replace, those limits, those, because just as we are now in this era of finding out more about spellers, and right, it's just the capacity of a human experience. It cannot be measured at a doctor's office of a 4-year-old and be able to future tell the experiences of a lifetime. And it just can't be. And it's so sad when you see these, parents that are now in grief or, constant paralyzed, analysis paralysis mode from all of the information, and feeling like, well, this doctor, this one person who gave me my child's lifeline of experiences now has told me there is none. Yeah. Devastating.
Yeah. I remember there are 2 pivotal points that doctors really took away my hope. There were 1,000 times when people on our team gave me hope. I mean, there were especially some special ed teachers and some therapists who gave me hope. But I remember distinctly asking our very first developmental pediatrician when Ethan was like 5 or 6, do you think he has autism? Would it make a difference, in how you looked at who he is as a patient? And I remember, and this was 12 years ago, so it wasn't that long ago, but things have changed so much in the field, right? He said, no, it wouldn't make any difference in how I treat him. And I thought, okay, I mean, what do I know? The kid is 5 or 6. We've been through hell. Doesn't matter to you. I guess, it's not a question I should be thinking about. And then I remember asking a psychiatrist when Ethan was like 11 or 12, have you ever seen a child with so much anxiety and depression and emotional dysregulation ever have something close to a normal life? And the psychiatrist said no. And I remember thinking, wow, okay, then I need to be prepared.
Buckle up.
But that's not how it turned out, you know? And sure, we're only turning 18 this week, right? We have a long way to go. I mean, but I just really want to say to those parents who, anytime they try to leave the house to go to preschool, much less to try to go to SeaWorld or the amusement park or the zoo or the mall, and it ended in a meltdown and you felt like a failure. I was there too. And I beat myself up every day of those 17 and a half years.
Yeah, it is the hardest job that you are given. And, so many of us, I think you're right, don't reach out to others, don't see that there is a community of other moms or dads that can be their grandparents, guardians, whatever you are, that if you are a caretaker, don't be afraid, don't be ashamed. Like you reaching out shows the level of compassion you have for yourself and for the individual you're caring for, because you can't pour from an empty cup. You've got to refill your own space. And it's hard to find those balances. Sometimes it's not until if you look back and you think, oh my gosh, I just spent the whole summer watching Love Island instead of doing all of because I'm in a deep depression and I had no idea. Right. And then I'm like, wait a second, wash it away. But some days you have to just accept that, like, getting yourself through these years, these struggles, it doesn't have to be alone. It doesn't have to be isolated, and it's going to feel that way. Like, it still feels that way. And I've done hundreds and hundreds of talks, and I love all my neighbors and they know me and I can be close with them. I still feel lonely and isolated some days. It's just realistic. It's just the reality of what it's like to have a home of, people who don't have the resources in the world as everyone else has access to.
Yeah. It was so hard for me to kind of break myself loose from traditional expectations. Like, okay, we are going to go to our neighborhood public school. We are going to go to school. We are, going to complete school. We're going to be friends with the kids in the neighborhood. We're going to play sports at school. We're going to be part of, the honor society at school. You know what? None of those things came to pass. None of them. And I really internalized that as failure as it was happening. Like, I was unable to make that system work for my child. But looking back, what I can say is I found a way through that meant not necessarily being in the box of those systems, but worked for my kid and for our family. And, remember how a few years ago, everyone was wearing those shirts like, never thought I would be a whatever. but here I am killing it. Never thought I'd be a podcast host, but here I am killing it. That's how I feel about being a homeschool mom, right? Like,
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be a homeschool mom, but here I am killing it. And, I hope that kind of the next generation of moms and dads and caretakers and parents feel like they can see some of the paths that people who are at the stage that you and I are at took, because I feel like there was no one ahead of me on the path, right? There was one mom in all of Tampa Bay who I felt like, oh, her kid is kind of like my kid. What's he doing?
Yeah.
But I really hope that this next generation, the caretakers of kids who right now are in preschool and elementary school can look to those of us who have older teenagers or young adults and say, okay, that was a path, and that was a possible path, and that was a possible path. And maybe somewhere in there, I can also create my path from learning from them. Because as you say, it was lonely, Sarah. It was really lonely.
Yeah. And it sometimes feels like only the members in this household understand that. They understand the complexity of the individual and kind of like you said, I feel like in a sense, and I say this, maybe I won't use that word. Never mind. I'm not going to say that. But I abandoned all of society's kind of ideas of what raising kids, having an education, what's important to teach them, how to let them sleep, when to make them do things, how to not make them do things, and how to just take control of your own self and not them. All of these things that I learned that now look like a kid who sleeps 2 weeks in the day and 2 weeks in the night. Yeah, that's completely dysfunctional for the world. But guess what? He has no health problems. He has no like emotional, he doesn't have anxiety. He is level 2-3. So there is emotional regulation and those types of things, life skills that we'll be working on for, I hope not forever, but maybe. But at the same time, if I would have pushed him to sleep on the schedule they wanted him to, force the food in his mouth that they said he had to eat or he would not live. All of these things, if I would have done that, we would be talking about a completely different individual. This individual might even not be living in a house. He may have to been, put in another type of a home because it would have made such an incoherent, incapable human out of who he is today and who he is able to be. And just like following biology, following like circadic rhythms, following somatic responses, people don't learn about that. That's not something that's given as an option. And when you have to just do it and you're just forced with these like, all right, my kid isn't welcome in school. Like, I'm not welcome there. Like, I have to do this here. This is, you buckle down, you put your heels in and you figure it out. So luckily, like, we've created dozens and dozens of systems that, work here and hopefully can help others. But exactly.
Yeah. No, and you do feel as you're going through it, just this perpetual dark cloud of worry. And then you get to this point, kind of like you've gotten to, like, you know what? We're going to sleep on our schedule. We're going to eat the foods that make us feel good. And we are not going to stress out over all the ways in which we are not living the traditional, conventional life. It was so hard, Sarah, because it was so wrapped up for me in wanting to be a good mom and wanting to be a good parent. And I find now, as I'm looking to that young adult transition, I feel a whole bunch of new responsibilities. And I think it started when Ethan started driver's ed, and then my daughter started driver's ed, and I was like, oh, these kids are going out in the world, and jobs and driving and college and finances. And I felt that heaviness again, like I did when they started high school. But it's also at this point kind of fun and exciting. But I think that there are a lot of parents out there who are like me, struggling with this transition to young adulthood for their kids who have autism, ADHD, anxiety, DMDD, whatever it might be. And I know, I keep seeing all these programs popping up that are like transition programs after high school, after getting a high school diploma. What do you do? And there seems to be a lot of these 6-month or 1-year programs popping up at, different therapy centers, different education centers. And I'm glad that they're starting, right? I'm really glad that they're starting because I think there are so many things that our kids who can be developmentally uneven need even after finishing high school, that if starting these programs means that, in 5 or 10 years, we're going to have some really robust programs that work. That will be great. We at Russell Coaching have started a one-on-one program for young adults. We call it the Life Launch program. And it's really designed for kids who have maybe completed high school. Sometimes they haven't, but they're lost and their parents are exhausted and nobody knows what the right next step is.
Yeah.
And in our Life Launch program, we work with that student to see, okay, where are you at in terms of academics? Where are you at in terms of physical health? Where are you at in terms of mental health, life goals, finances? The whole program starts with, let's figure out kind of where you're at and where you might want to be in 6 months, a year, a couple of years, and then intense work over 30 sessions with that young person to help them set and achieve goals, working one-on-one with them. And it's been so great because we've seen kids go from, working a part-time retail job to being back in school, or, really spending their days mostly sleeping, maybe getting high, to enrolling in a certification to become a personal trainer. We've seen kids apply to rigorous 4-year colleges after they took a year break. And I just think we have to really be cognizant. And I know I'm extra conscious of it now because my own two are at this stage of the uneven development at this stage of 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, really anywhere between 15 and 20. And what do our kids need individually? The same way, right? The same way we had to shepherd them through, from 0 to 18. We need to individually look at what do our kids need and where can they contribute? What are they good at? We always start everything at Russell Coaching with 2 things, a strengths assessment and a values exercise, because we want to know what is important to that student, right? Who are they as a person? And I think that just sets the stage for a very equal collaboration and partnership between their coach, and themselves, and parents, therapists, medical doctors. We are very much a team approach coaching practice. And I'm proud of that. We've grown a lot over 17 years and really figured out what works and what doesn't work and what's an approach to coaching executive functioning skills, study skills, and social and emotional skills.
Absolutely. Is this the right website to find that information? Is that the right one that I went to?
Nope. You're going to go to Russell Coaching.
Know where I got that.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay. Got it. Russell Coaching.
Russell Coaching. And then you're going to find the Life Launch Coaching Program under services or programs. Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, huh,
Girl.
interesting. I don't know where that came from. I'm gonna erase that guy. Well, make sure that you do that. And I love that because I think that there are so many parents that are at the stage where, when they hit that kind of 16 to 18, they want to know how and what's next. And all of these resources are so wonderful. And I love the idea of just this year, my 14-year-old, I want her this summer to get a debit card. She's used the prepaid things and stuff before, but I don't want to keep reloading money and paying for that because that's ridiculous. And I want her to start learning how to budget it a little bit more by herself. And I think it's so easy when they're at this age when it's not like, oh my gosh, my gas bill's overdue. And now how do I know this is, I want to buy bracelet stuff. This is like easy to manage. And so I really want to get it practiced a lot, and it's something I never had practice in. It's something I'm still not good at. I even told her we might have to take this financial literacy class together so that I can help. No, I can know what to do with, I'm not going to be able to help you unless I know what to do.
I don't ever remember opening a banking account, but I don't ever remember my parents talking to me about budgets or bills. And I think I was a little later than you were. I think I went with my kids and opened them when they were like maybe 15. And my son, when he got his job, well, he gets paid every 2 weeks. And in his mind, and I don't think this is atypical, it was like, that's my money. And I was like, oh, yeah, some of it is your fun money, but it's time to have us a little conversation about gas, about car insurance, about the phone. And Sarah, it's been a real struggle, and it's something he works on with his coach. I decided I'm not talking to you about it anymore because you can't get over with me the fact that it's in his mind your money, and I cannot hold my temper any longer. So
yeah,
you talk about it with your coach. They mapped out a budget. What does your actual share of the phone cost? What did it cost for your parents to put you on the car insurance? What does gas cost? And we're just asking him to put a fraction of his paycheck toward that. But it has been an adjustment for him. And I'm glad that we're having kind of the open, honest conversation. And I'm glad that he has a coach who's working with him on understanding finances. But he would really like to be able to spend all of that money on gaming and remote control helicopters. And hey, I'd like to spend all of my paycheck on, new clothes and massages. But
bills have to be paid, don't they?
Yeah.
So
but I think too, I have this conversation every day with a parent. They don't want to listen to me, the parent says.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, they want to listen to you. They just also want to feel adult, and they want to feel competent, and they don't want to feel judged or inadequate. Right. And so there's this period of time in there where I think it's just so helpful to say, let's bring in someone else who can either help with academics or help with life coaching or both, so that that person, that teenager, has a safe place to really talk about those things and to have someone who's professionally trained in them. And as well as I do that coaching is completely unlicensed. And so anybody can be a coach of anything. I was teasing my daughter the other day. She has a hard time remembering to brush her teeth. I'm like, we need to get you a teeth brushing coach, kind of making fun of how, you can really find a coach for anything. Yeah. But I'm proud of the fact that at Russell Coaching, we've spent 10 years developing a method called connected coaching. We surveyed our students this spring. We got really great data about how effective our method is, the integrity of our method. And I just think that's really an important message for parents of kids of any age, but also as you get to this high school, young adult transitional time where you think, my kid is not ready for the real world. My kid is not going off to college, but I don't know what else to do, or they don't want to listen to me. And you don't want to be that parent who's screaming and yelling and nagging. And you don't want your relationship to turn into just, just that, And so, I think programs like our Life Launch program at russellcoaching.com and other programs that are popping up across the country can be helpful. I would just also say to parents, be sure that you look into what the qualifications are, what the program is going to do, what the outcomes are going to be, because, coaching is an exploding field, and there's definitely a place at the table for coaching, and there should be, but we've got to know,
like you said, the outcome. I like that. That's so true.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I'm super excited to say that when we did our survey this spring with our students, 96% of our students said, my coach helps me hold myself accountable for my goals. Okay. Love that. 89% said my virtual meetings are successful or very successful. Okay. Love that. 96% of our students say they are doing better academically thanks to Russell Coaching. They say things like, I get better grades. I now know how to get my work done. Having someone help me plan has made the biggest difference. Coaching improved my grades and decreased procrastination. I'm managing my time better and improving my study skills. 96% of our students say they are doing better academically because of coaching. I was blown away. I never dreamed of such great numbers. And then this is my favorite one. This is my favorite. Before Russell Coaching, 24% of our students had never personally set a single goal for themselves. 24%. Wow. Okay. After Russell Coaching, 81% of our students reported success in reaching their goals since starting with Russell Coaching.
That's amazing.
To go from 24% never set a goal at all, ever, to 81% saying they were successful at setting and achieving their goals. I'm super proud of that. I'm really proud of the work that our coaches do. We work with kids from upper elementary all the way through the 20s, and so we say Russell Coaching for students, but really should say, and I maybe I'll change it someday, Sarah, when I have nothing else to do. Students and young adults. I don't know. Who knows?
Russell Coaching for life. There you go.
I know. So yeah, that's where we're at Russell Coaching. 17 years later, largest student coaching practice in the country. 96% of our students say we are helping them to be more successful at school and in life.
What more could you want? That's the outcome, exactly the outcome that you're looking for. And I really couldn't agree more. When you're going to look for coaches, therapists, baseball teams, doesn't matter. When you're going to look at everything, look at the reviews, look at the background, look and see how long they've been open. If they haven't been, maybe find some people that have been there that, you can get an idea of, because even newer places are great too, but definitely vet the people that are going to be in your child's life for sure. So,
No, and we have been so fortunate for both my kids to have amazing people on their team. And I think, that was one of the most helpful things I ever read from the American Academy of Pediatrics about treatment guidelines for ADHD and how important a team approach was. And it really solidified what we do at Russell Coaching. We're the ones who often reach out to school. We're the ones who often reach out to the therapist. We're the ones who will say to the psychiatrist, do you want the last 3 months of coaching notes with, of course, signed permission and absolute express permission by the student and the parent. We would never do anything like that without permission. But that team approach and getting the right people on your team who believe in your child is essential. And it's so rewarding, isn't it? I mean, it's just so joyful to see kids developing confidence, self-esteem, new skills, dreams.
Yeah. And you know what? You stay with those people throughout your life. Like I've literally stayed in touch with every amazing therapist that we got close to. And, we're still on all the social medias and everything and following each other and staying in touch. So it's something you never lose track of. In fact, my daughter and I were just walking we have a canal behind our house. We were just walking on a walk the other night and someone stopped and she said, "Oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in so long. I bet DJ is so big." And it was one of his preschool teachers and he's 16. And just the fact that you catch up with these people later in life and you can tell them and I didn't share this with you either. I'll throw this snippet out there because it's exciting. DJ doesn't leave the house. It's not he doesn't go out very often. He's definitely a hermit in his room. But what he has found is he's been building his own YouTube channel for so many years now. I think he has close to 13,000 subscribers. He is monetized, Norine. He's monetized and I've set up an Able account where I will just start depositing that money. And, he doesn't have that same understanding of what that means and the money. But when I told him that this is you were just monetized, this is your first job, his face light up in a different way than I could understand that he was even understanding this. It's life changing. Sorry to cry at the very last second, but it's so amazing to see your kid who once again was told will never make money, will never have a job, will never be a product of society or successful. And to say they have found their community and that community supports them and that community wants to financially support them. What more could a parent want? So just don't hold out hope. This is a wonderful episode of hope. And yeah, Russell Coaching, you need to go support them today.
Though you're so right. And let's end on that message. Don't give up hope. Right. Mm-hmm. And I just so relate to where you're coming from. These years have touched me, and Ethan's 18th birthday is just really touching me, and him being at the camp where he spent the night away from home for the first time. And the camp director was texting me every hour. He's still okay. He's hanging in there. We made it another hour. And I mean, Sarah, he was 11 or 12. He'd never spent the night away from home.
Yeah.
We talk about, we do what our kids need. He slept with me until he got a therapy dog because that's what my kid needed and was right for him. And I don't share that. I've never shared that publicly on a podcast. And he went for training at the end of last week. The very first campers of the summer came yesterday, which was a Sunday. And he texted me late last night. He goes, "Boy, there was a lot of dysregulation around here." I just cracked up. I'm like, Ethan, you today were someone's Mariah. You were that camp counselor who got that kid through their first day away from home. You, in so many ways, as the human being you are, have changed so many other people's lives. But today, you know exactly whose life you changed, because whoever was dysregulated, I know your heart went out to them. And then he texted us today. It's Monday today. And he's like, "Hey, you guys know my legendary lack of coordination? Well, I had to do a 3-legged race with a camper today because she didn't have a partner. And we won." And I was like, holy cow. I was crying in the car. My daughter was like, "Mom." I was like, "Lila, you're just not going to understand until and unless you have kids." But yeah, when you have had the experience that you've had, that I've had, that literally tens of thousands of parents have, that we just don't talk about until we're at our little conferences or in our little Facebook groups, it is some powerful magic to see those moments, like the YouTube monetization, like his face when you say, you have a job, buddy. You are earning money. You have a job. Like, and so, we've had a long rambling conversation about transitions and what do our young, adults need. But to parents, I just keep advocating, keep learning, keep loving, because good things will come. That right path will emerge, even if you can't see it, even if it seems dark and that there's no path and nobody's ever been on that path, because that's how I felt. But, I love that your son's YouTube channel. Put it up here.
Okay, let's do it. Oh my heavens. We're doing
because this is how we support each other.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth? And it's so neat that he can, we didn't even understand that he had this type of like support, that they were, I keep going into my own channel. Here we go.
Right. You didn't know that was going to be his path. We don't know what their paths are going to be. Right.
And how many kids do you hear say, oh, I want to be a YouTuber, right? I want to be a YouTuber. Well, here's DJ's YouTube. If any of you want to check it out. Oh my gosh. And yeah, right now he's literally sitting at 12,800 subscribers. He has like 3.5 million views or something on his like shorts and videos. And wow, just in like, he has these conversations in the community posts that are different than he has with us, different kind of conversations. So there's growth sometimes that we can't see as parents because they only give us what they do. They give others different things. Yeah. We have to like love and be accepting of that for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, this has been so great catching up with you. So great. Thank you so much for your time and for the Life Launch program for your young adult or, elementary through 20s. Just hit it. And we're so glad to support you and go to all of your socials to support you on those as well. But we'll be staying in touch for sure.
And Sarah, for your listeners, I want to let them know that they can use coupon code Sarah and get 20% off 3 months of coaching.
Oh, I love that.
We are doing special summer programs right now. It's not too late to register for a summer coaching program. 20% off summer or 20% off 3 months in the fall. And all they need is, you got it right there, Sarah, for 20% off of coaching for your listeners.
Thank you so, so much. And this episode will be airing in maybe 3 weeks time, 4 weeks time. So definitely height of summertime before your kiddos get back to school. Check that out. Take advantage of that. And of course, reach out to me if you ever need any resources, you want to connect with anyone, and you want to just say hello. I love just to check in. So please check in with me. Thank you again, Norrine. I'm so happy we came back around 4.5 years later. Wow.
We're not going to let it be 4.5 years again before we catch up. We need to do this annually.
much sooner next time. Definitely.
Thank you
so much.
Empowering voices, meaningful resources, stronger connections. Be a part of it. This is the Neurodivergent Resource Podcast. Join us.